Welcome to another episode of Mortgage Masterminds. I'm Richard Reeser, VP of Marketing at Sales Boomerang and Mortgage Coach, and my guest is Michael McAllister, founder at EmpowerLO. Michael, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
In case you haven't heard about Sales Boomerang or Mortgage Coach, you definitely have been living under a rock for the past forever, Sales Boomerang lets you know when someone needs a loan in your database, the moment they need a loan. And Mortgage Coach provides the advice that they need to make the buying decision easy for them. Because let's be honest, it's not an easy decision in the home buying journey a lot of times. So that's what Sales Boomerang and Mortgage Coach do. Why don't you hop on those websites if you want to learn more? You can schedule a demo. You can reach out to me, richard.g@salesboomerang.com. I'm always available to talk to folks. But without further ado, Michael, let's just jump into this. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about EmpowerLO and what it is, your background. We talked a little bit. Your background was like an agency where you're doing a lot of pay-per-click ads for some very top producers and small businesses, and you've transitioned a little bit into a CRM, which is interesting, and you have a lot of functionality that you offer. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you tell a little bit about what it is you do.
Yeah. So actually, even prior to being an agency, right, or starting an agency, I was a loan officer. So as a loan officer, I built a system for generating leads using Google Ads, kind of reverse engineered what I saw LendingTree, Veterans United, Zillow, right? These bigger companies kind of reverse engineered what I saw them doing. Quicken Loans, sorry, I don't know how I forgot that one. But reverse engineered what I saw them doing and built out basically a pay-per-click ad funnel with a landing page and generated leads with long form details, 10, 12 data points, and was doing that for less than $15 a lead. So basically spent a bunch of money on ads and built my mortgage business that way. I was super young, not very good with working with real estate agent. I'm a very high D direct personality, and that rubs some people the wrong way, at least in my market out here in Boise, Idaho. And so the agent thing wasn't for me. And so figuring that out was kind of the beginning of what has led us here now. At the point that I started the agency, we continue to have it, EmpowerLO, formerly Empower Funnels, but we work with currently 70 to 80 loan officers across the country, and I don't even know how many different markets, but basically 60-70% of our markets are full at capacity, and we've got wait lists on 20% of our markets. So that's a really big, still a really big part of my life and part of our business. But in addition to that, because we did so much for our clients around marketing automation at the point that the lead was generated, we had a lot of campaigns and automations built out, ready to go for a loan officer, really regardless of what the lead source was. Yes, we used these automations for Google for our leads, but at the end of the day, loan officers could be generating their own leads on Facebook. They could be buying leads from Zillow, LendingTree, whatever. And all the automations and work that we do to help our clients after the point of generating the lead all really applies for them. So we basically packaged the CRM, the marketing automation system that we use for all of our clients on the agency side for the last 4 or 5 years, and now offer it as a standalone product where loan officers can go in and just sign up for that marketing automation and take advantage of the system that we have built out for them.
Well, so if I'm an LO in the audience right now, let's say I produce 20 million a year, something like that, fairly successful, right? And someone's interested in working with you, what does it take? I mean, is this fairly hands-off? Is there a cost involved? Obviously, there's probably a cost involved. And what can I expect?
Yeah, I mean, first thing, leveraging the software platform, leveraging that basic marketing automation, really everybody should be using something like this, right? And a lot of loan officers do. A lot of loan officers have a CRM provided by their company that provides some of this functionality and have some content loaded into it. And a lot of loan officers are investing in their own platform outside of it. If you're not, that's step one, right? Is make sure that you have some sort of marketing automation platform. Now, if you don't have that, and you would rather just skip straight to like generating leads and getting the full system, you can do that, and we help loan officers do that. It's obviously going to be a little bit more expensive. You're investing in filling the top of your funnel rather than just investing in something that helps you optimize your funnel. So as far as like what it takes for an individual LO to leverage like our lead generation platform, that you're going to pay a setup fee. Our setup fee is like $1,500, I believe, for $14.97, and then $9.97 a month for management. And then we're going to recommend $1,000 to $1,500 a month in ads. So about $2,000 to $2,500 a month. So not necessarily for your brand new LO right out of the gates, but also you don't necessarily have to be a top producer to take advantage of it either.
So who's creating the ads? I mean, so who's making that content? Are you telling them what should be in the content? Are you creating the content for them? Or I mean, I guess you see this across a lot of clients and what performs and what doesn't. So how do you do that?
Yeah, so it's like ready out of the box basically. Like we have already created all of the ads. We have all of the keywords that you should be bidding on. We have the pixel data that we feed back to Google as far as who is most likely to convert into a lead. And so the loan officer doesn't have to do anything. I mean, they get access to the Google Ads account. In fact, they get ownership of the Google Ads account, and they pay for their ads directly. So we're not marking that up at all. But as far as like their involvement in getting that set up, there really isn't any. I mean, once they pay their invoice, we have an onboarding form that they fill out, and that onboarding form kicks off on our end the fulfillment of it, and then the next time that we talk to them is their go live call, and we're basically showing them what we built for them and introducing them to the marketing automation software and like some tactics for working the leads.
And so what does a dashboard look like for like an NLO? What are they looking at when you're looking at like a monthly snapshot of using EmpowerLO?
Yeah, so some statistics that you're going to want to track. Working with us on the PPC side, obviously, cost per click, cost per conversion, and conversion rate are really the three biggest ones. Your cost per click with your conversion rate creates your cost per conversion. So if you have a $2 cost per click, your conversion rate is 20%, then your cost per lead is $10 a lead, essentially, right? And so those are some of the biggest metrics that you want to track as far as the Google Ads side. In any other application, or including this one, the most important stuff that you want to be tracking is the stuff that happens after the lead is generated. So what percentage of the people that you're talking to are you sending an application link to, if you're sending them an application link, or what percentage of them are you having an intake call with them, if that's part of your process? What percentage of the apps that you're taking are qualified? What percentage of your pre-approvals are going out shopping right away? Like, these are the metrics that are really going to give you input on what you can be doing differently. At the end of the day, like, leads are leads to some extent. Now, I say to some extent because the industry took this to an extreme with Facebook ads and some of the shitty leads that loan officers would generate for themselves on Facebook. Some loan officers took this to the extreme. Real estate agents took this to the extreme. Not all leads are created equal. However, if you're generating leads on Google, if you're buying leads from LendingTree, if you're buying leads from Zillow, if you're buying leads from Rate Marketplace, Bankrate, whatever, if you're buying leads, 9 times out of 10, those leads are going to be very, very similar to one another. And so given that that's the case, really all of this stuff, you can kind of apply it, you can apply it across the board.
So let's say your management in your software can only really lead a horse to water. What do you see the difference between the folks using your platform and your services, the ones that are really successful and the ones that aren't? What are those qualities that differentiates a successful LO versus a non-successful LO? Because you're basically doing everything they need up until that conversation, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because you would think that makes it a slam dunk every single time. And it doesn't like we've gone as far as setting appointments for loan officers and putting the appointments on their calendar. And then we backed off of that approach because we found like getting to the point of having an appointment or having a conversation is not the hard part for a loan officer. So there's two pieces to this. I'm going to answer your question directly as far as what makes the difference between somebody who's successful and not. There's two pieces. Number one, coachability, hands down. Because at the end of the day, if you come in with all the bad habits in the world, it doesn't matter. Like, we know what we're doing. We're not afraid to tell you like how to do it. And as long as you follow our lead, we haven't had a client that came on board, left their ego at the door and said, "Hey, I'll do everything that you guys say, and not be successful." We've never had that. So number one is coachability. Okay. Number two, though, is the desire, like the inherent desire to actually help people, right? Like, you have to actually have a desire to go beyond exchanging money for leads that close loans. This lead generation doesn't replace being a shitty person or a shitty loan officer, basically. Is what I'm getting at. Is like, if you're not the type of person that's going to dig deep enough to find opportunity when you have a conversation with somebody, if you're looking for the people that are, that get on the phone and say, "All right, I'm ready to submit an application. I'm ready to apply on this house right now," and you don't show any desire to get to know them as an individual, you're gonna struggle with it for sure. And we've seen that before, for like time and time again.
So it's interesting. I was never a loan officer, but I can tell you I have bought and sold several homes before, and so I will say that the loan officers that I've worked with before, and I've had good experiences and bad experiences, the ones that I find the most interesting and someone who I will maintain a relationship with are the ones that have, it's not just about my need right now. Like, that conversation is usually like, and they'll even say that hey, this is just one piece of many transactions you're probably going to do in a lifetime, right? And you also have family members. Maybe your parents will need help with their retirement and might need a reverse mortgage, or there's so many like conversations outside of just this one individual transaction, which, by the way, might not even be in the borrower's interest. People are pretty ignorant when it comes to their mortgage needs. So you really have to be a doctor about it. I mean, be a professional. You're in this business because you're better than they are. You've been doing it, however many years. You've seen this many amount of mortgage loans that you've done for folks, and that's the approach from my perspective, is that you really got to dig deep about what are their goals, where are they at in their life right now, where are they going, and when is the next time you're going to have to help them as well, right? And then
Yeah.
and then if you do a really good job at that, there's all of their friends and all of their family, right? Because I think every conversation has to lead with retirement these days. This country has a huge problem with retirement. So, I mean, every millennial you talk to, you should be making sure that they're planning for their retirement at the very minimum, right? Regardless of whether they're buying a house or not, or whether their parents have enough money to fund their retirement, right? So every conversation, in my opinion, can lead to like 4 or 5 other mortgage-related conversations with other people if you do it right in the business.
Yeah.
So.
Amen.
So that's
Amen.
that's how I answer my own question.
Yeah.
So talk to me. When did you start EmpowerLO?
2018.
And you're growing really well, I assume.
Yeah. So this year, or last year to this year, was our smallest percentage of growth so far. But we should still finish with about 25% growth between 2021 and 2022. But we're trying to gear up and get ready for another big push.
Well, so what's the one thing I didn't ask is what's the investment in terms of time, and you also said that you got to be ready to be coachable. So, let's say you're an older person, you've been doing what you do for a really long time. What does that change in your daily habits look like? You know what I mean? Like, what do I got to do to be successful with EmpowerLO?
Yeah, I mean, the good news is like, I don't really it's not really so much a time investment. Like I said, it's more just like a difference in approach, and there's multiple steps in the process that show that signify that, and I'll get to that in a second. Time investment wise, if a loan officer is spending $1,200, $1,500 on ads, generating 100 to 150 leads a month. They should be able to do this with our marketing automation, our system, for no more than 2 hours a day. An hour of that is like concentrated CRM interaction time, right? And then the other hour is going to be spread throughout the day, just conversations, appointments, etc. So that's 3 hours a day tops, right? If you're slow moving with the technology, which is a pretty decent sized commitment for two or three loans, which is why if you are slow with that technology, probably you should be looking at an end game with this if you're going into it, as far as not necessarily doing it yourself, and passing it off to somebody in your branch or somebody on your team, or something like that. But like I said, 2 hours, 2 hours a day. As far as like the commitment to change, like I said, a lot of the stuff is basic sales habits that really you should be having in your business in general. As far as checking your CRM every day, as far as using your CRM as a means of like scheduling your days down the road, when you put tasks and you schedule tasks for yourself, living by those tasks when that day comes. A lot of the stuff is stuff that you probably should be doing for your business otherwise. And then some of it is just like the difference between talking to somebody that was referred to you by a real estate agent, that where you're running on borrowed trust, versus talking to somebody that met you online and inherently has a low level of trust with you, and like being able to bridge that gap quickly has more to do with paradigm shifts and word tracks than it does with like an extensive amount of time investment.
Makes sense. So I can say that from mortgage coach and sales boomerang, when sales boomerang sends a piece of borrower intelligence to a loan officer's CRM, let's say it's somebody who has a lot of credit card debt but a lot of over 50% home equity, right? The interaction between the, first of all, speed to lead, right? The time's got to be quick. They got to get marketing automation out there quick, and we usually recommend like an email, text, phone call, like those kind of three. I don't know what your secret sauce is, but you'd be surprised the number of clients we have that have. I mean, I wouldn't even say, some of them honestly have very little marketing automation in place, and the marketing automation they have in place is pretty bad. So I would be so much more confident knowing that the people we work with, we're using someone like you to manage that marketing automation piece, because it really is up to the person. We can give best practices all day long, but it really is up to the person who's getting the information to do the right thing with it, right? And we've proven this, right, with data, that people with really good marketing automation definitely convert higher as a result, right? I mean, it's just very simple data. We've seen it.
Yeah.
And so I'll give the plug out there right now that anybody who's working with you off of our intelligence is definitely going to be more successful than putting just kind of like the bare bones together, you know what I mean, themselves, and not real, especially because you've got the experience across many different loan officers doing this.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I appreciate that. And the one thing that I'd say with the marketing automation piece is, because a lot of people hear marketing automation and they think that means taking the human touch out of it. There's this concept that I've been talking about a lot lately, called a forcing function. And I can't remember. I think it's from Impossible to Inevitable is the book that I read it in. But a forcing function is basically like a decision that you make that forces your hand at a decision later on, essentially. So the idea of using marketing automation in the context of Sales Boomerang, and we're so excited to partner up with Sales Boomerang in some capacity. More details to come around that, but we're so excited to partner up with Sales Boomerang in some capacity to be able to push those automations for our clients and their close deals, push the automations automatically, and then generate what I would call like a forcing function text message, which is a text message that goes out, that goes straight for letting them know, hey, I've got this critical pieces of information for you about your loan. When would you have 5 to 10 minutes to chat? Now, if I send that text message out automatically and they respond and they tell me when they have 5 to 10 minutes to chat, I am like infinitely closer to having that significant conversation with that borrower than if I just got that notification in my inbox. And then in my head, I have to get over the mental hump of reaching out to them, coordinating a time, doing like they're going to respond back with, oh, I have time this afternoon, or I won't have time until tomorrow, or whatever. Like you're right there. You're right there. And if it was me getting that message, like I'd be kicking myself in the ass later if I didn't actually act on that. That'd be pretty embarrassing, And so we kind of use that self-inflicted peer pressure, those forcing functions, and we're excited to do that with the alerts from Sales Boomerang.
Well, I am too. We are too. Let me ask you a question. Are you? I know this is your secret sauce. Are you allowed to share, or are you willing to share some of your secret sauce in terms of, like you said, leads aren't all created equal, and so I just wonder, amongst your Zillows, bank breaks, lending trees, all of those, Facebook, if you had to rank them in terms of like these are convert the highest, or is the highest quality down to like, ooh, I don't know if this one's really worth your spend. Like, what would you put stuff in buckets?
Yeah, I appreciate this question. This is a good question. What I look at when I'm evaluating the quality of a lead is intent, basically, and how accurately can I measure the intent of the lead and what they originally wanted to accomplish. So, number one, top of the list, has been for a while and probably always will be until they, completely shut out loan officers, is going to be Zillow. Reason why is because the intent is insane on Zillow leads. Zillow gives away everything on their website for free, ungated. You don't have to provide your contact information. Like all of that stuff is available to everybody as far as the listing search and their calculators and stuff like that. All that stuff is available to everybody, which means when somebody does finally inquire, this is somebody that's been sitting on their site for a year, 2 years, maybe, right? So that they're at the peak of their intent, the peak that they'll ever be. Those are like gold. I wish that I could recreate those for my clients. I can't. Um,
Hmm.
so that's what I would say, Zillow. Below that, Lending Tree exclusive. I think if you're running semi exclusives, unless you're a call center yourself, like you're running against Rocket Mortgage every single time, and you're going to
Hmm.
get smoked every single time. And if not in not in any sort of like loan product or anything, or like product knowledge, but just in salesmanship and technology tenacity, etc. I mean, those guys are like trained to do what they do, and they're really good at it. So
Hmm.
exclusives, I would say Lending Tree exclusives. I don't like bank rate because it's basically like bank rates are rate table leads essentially, which means you're just you're dealing with a bunch of rate shoppers, and I was never really a fan of that. So then really it's like if it's not Zillow or Lending Tree, then you have to evaluate the traffic source from there and how accurately can you assess where the traffic is from. So whether it's Rate Marketplace or Mortgage Research Center or an agency, like you need to be able to know where the leads are being generated, because if they're being generated from Google, all of those are going to be on this level, and anything else is going to be lower than that, whether it's email, whether it's display and banner ads, consumer direct mailer responders. Like all of those are pattern interruption marketing, and not capturing people where they're searching. And so like I said, once you get past Zillow and Lending Tree, you really got to dig a little bit deeper and say, how are you generating these leads? And the less they share with you, I mean, our clients see everything from start to finish, all like before they even start with us. If they don't, if you can't see everything as far as how that lead is being generated, uh, that should throw up some red flags.
Well, so you mentioned so far Google was like creme de la creme, then Zillow, Lending Tree, exclusive, and that's kind of your three. But I'm not talking about like social media organic kind of work that a lot of people are gaming those algorithms and they're really good at doing that. But what about spending on ads on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok? Did you see any success there?
Like, as part of a broader marketing strategy, yes. If your goal is direct response lead generation, no. Like direct like direct response lead generation, you inherently have a very, very low level of trust with your audience, which means that intent piece ends up determining whether or not it's like you have a good lead, a lead that's worth having. Now, the flip side of this is like if you're if you are retargeting on Facebook leads that you've already talked to or at some point, or leads that landed on your landing page previously, or targeting agents on Facebook with a little video about you, like you can use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you can use all that stuff very successfully in your business. But if you're just talking about generating leads and taking strangers' name, email address, and phone number, like you're wasting your time if you're doing that anywhere except for Google, except for in very, very limited circumstances.
Interesting. That's very interesting. And are when you have your marketing automation, are they different for all of these, or are they all the same? Like what I'm trying to say is, do you do a different workflow for all of your marketing automation depending on where someone's coming from, or is it kind of standard?
Well, so we only do Google for our clients, and so the campaigns that we've built assume a level of intent that is there with Google. Whereas like if you were generating leads from Facebook, like you might have to change some of the language because uh, some of the language of our marketing automation insinuates that they were searching for like what we do. So outside of that, though, 90% of it can be the same. I think that a lot of loan officers overthink this stuff when really the best thing to do is to make sure that you have communications going out and make sure that they sound somewhat like a real person, and not necessarily overthinking the content of that.
So I got well, this is a weirdo question for you, but this is what I do. So there's a couple of realtors I live in DC, in the Washington DC area, and there's a couple like big realtors that will do some pretty extravagant investments to do lead gen. And what they'll do is everybody they sold a home to, they'll invite onto these big party buses and take them out to wineries. And you'll get like, I'm not kidding, like 100 people on these party buses where the wine is flowing, everybody's having a good time, and they let their clients bring whoever they want. And so, and of course they've got their agents walking up and down the buses, getting to know people, and they do very well with this model. Now, I don't think that works for everybody. I think it works for some people, and some people can pull it off, and some people can't. Maybe especially if there's like a niche community you're focusing on. But I guess my question is coming at: does a lot of that kind of stuff work in lead gen? What I'm trying to say is, I saw an ad just today, and I got the same. It's funny. I saw the ad, and then the same SDR who works for the vendor, that's a sales representative for anybody who doesn't know, sent me an email immediately because they got good tech. They knew I saw that ad, and he immediately follows up with an email offering me AirPods if I'll just listen to their pitch for 30 minutes. And so I started thinking to myself, like, that's pretty significant, like, powerful way to get someone onto a 30-minute demo. I don't know what their cost per acquisition is, you know what I mean? But obviously,
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's worth it for them to just get me on a demo for 30 minutes, right? They'll get enough
Yeah.
of us to convert in their mind. But I just wondered, is there any of that you're seeing anybody doing in the mortgage space? Is anybody offering ridiculous gimmicks like that are kind of like, and does it work?
Yeah, I'm not like the on the real estate side, or on like the example of the real estate agent. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff like that, and lenders. I see more lenders like supporting an agent in that than doing it themselves. A lot of lenders, their clients, like they wouldn't be able to run an event like that without getting the agent's buy-in first, because the clients are not their clients, the clients are the agent's clients, really, right? And so
Interesting.
that's where a lot of our clients see benefit from marketing consumer direct, is that eliminates that dynamic. Like at the point that I found the lead, like I'm the quarterback of the transaction. The lead looks at it that way. I look at it that way. The agent looks at it that way. And so I could see our clients maybe getting deep, getting more into consumer direct party type things like that. And especially a client that we have out in Arizona closing 19 to 20 of these like Google pay-per-click leads a month. I could definitely see that working out for them. The most like creative, I mean, we have a local brokerage right now that like has like 4 people on their team driving around in like wrapped like Teslas. And I don't quite understand that all the way. That's pretty gimmicky. I don't know how well that's working. And then lastly, something that like I wouldn't have necessarily been on board with 3-4 years ago that I've seen a little bit more of lately. Specifically, do you know Jeff Zimfer?
Yeah, Jeff's great.
Yeah. So Jeff runs mortgage. What is it called?
Mortgage Marketing Radio.
Yeah, so he has that podcast, but then Agent Academy or something like that. And it's mortgagemarketing.pro. And basically it's like his like agent training academy, and this concept of running trainings for real estate agent on pretty basic like social media marketing, digital marketing, like marketing automation type stuff. I think that honestly, like, that to me, that was my play when I was a loan officer. I just didn't have the content out of the box to do it. Like when I was generating leads for my business and I wasn't closing as many deals as fast as I wanted to, even doing that, the next thing that I did was I started putting on classes for real estate agents, how they could generate leads or how they could manage their social media or whatever. So this was my approach up until the point that I said, I'm going to do this on the agency side. So I really, really believe in what he's doing with that. Especially at the point that he's like got it in like a pre-packaged, like ready out of the box. You can run your events virtually. I think that is very underrated right now. Is running those events as a means of getting in front of as many agents as possible.
Yeah, we talked about Cash. Cash does it a lot. Cash said,
yeah,
he's really good at that. Actually, he does it regularly, and he said the barrier is not too high to get into it, so definitely a good strategy.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, this was awesome. Everybody, if you want to find out more, you can reach out to Michael on LinkedIn. However, any other way you want people to contact you?
Yeah, just head over to EmpowerLO.com. You can claim a 14-day free trial if you let us know that you heard about us on the Mortgage Masterminds podcast. We'll extend that trial for you out to 30 days. So you just got to shoot us a chat and say, hey, I started my trial. I heard about you from Mortgage Masterminds. We'll extend your trial up to 30 days. So feel free to head over there. You can book a demo for our mortgage lead generation service called Core. You can click a link at the top of the page and book a demo for that. Hit me up on LinkedIn, hit me up on Facebook. I'm around.
So you heard what Michael said. Go register for 30 days. Spend your entire year's marketing budget on buying leads just for those 30 days, and then you're out. I'm just kidding.
There we go. Hit it hard. Test those terms of service.
Michael, thanks so much, man. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, me as well. I really appreciate you having me on.
Thanks for listening. If you like the podcast, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe, and tell all your friends about the show. We at Sales Boomerang started this podcast to elevate the mortgage lending industry by sharing the kind of exclusive, insider knowledge from the successes and failures of the best of the best. The foundation of every successful lender is borrower retention. Sales Boomerang is the #1 fully automated borrower retention system in the industry. 1 in 2 of the biggest lending companies in the United States use Sales Boomerang to make sure they reach out to their borrowers when they need a loan, and more importantly, before their competitors do. If you want to learn more about Sales Boomerang, check us out at salesboomerang.com.